Let's focus on the debt ceiling thing you just brought up here. Why are Republicans not participating? There's a reason. What's the reason the Republicans have just washed their hands of this thing?
Well, look, the way they see it is, if you listen to Mitch McConnell, you listen to the Republican senators talk about it, the way they see it is that this is the Democrats' mess. They control government. They won the election. Okay, fine. The Democrats have the House. They've got the Senate. They've got the White House. It's their problem. They can do it via reconciliation. The Senate parliamentarian has ruled that they can do that. Senator Joe Manchin has said that he'd be open to going that route. And it's their problem, not the Republicans. The Republicans are washing their hands of this. Now, in addition to that, you've seen public polling on this that shows that the American public would, if the country does default on our debt, which would be the first time that this has ever happened, and again, it would happen under complete Democrat control in Washington, that the American people would, by and large, in a significant plurality, blame the Democrats and not the Republicans. So there's definitely politics at play here, but there's also simply, it's not our problem. It's their problem. They can't even get their own agenda passed, never mind keep the lights on and pay the bills. And so again, incompetence and complete failure is what you get when you put Democrats in charge. And I think that's the message that the Republicans want to send to the country as we turn the corner at the end of this year, head into 2022 in the midterm elections.
Let's focus on the $3.5 trillion bill here, which is, I mean, honestly, I'm sure you could go into some details on it. The more I dig into it, the more frightening it is. What exactly is the holdup? What is the problem with this Democrat versus that Democrat? What is the argument they're having?
Well, first and foremost, there is no actual bill yet. So the American people can't read whatever it is these people are negotiating out and behind closed doors and so on and so forth, all the different parties, but they can't agree on a top line. So Joe Manchin wants to go only as high as $1.5 trillion. The left says that they've already compromised by going down to $3.5 trillion. There's now apparently some reports just today that some of the Democrats are, even some of the hard lefties, like Pramila Jayapal, she's the leader of the Congressional Progressive Caucus, and she's frankly the acting president of the United States. Nothing happens unless Pramila says it's okay. The fact of the matter is they've come down now. So they're willing to go down to the $2 trillion range. So they're still hashing out exactly what the top line is going to be. Once they agree on that, they still don't agree. We don't have any clear idea as to exactly what policies are going to be in this thing either. So we don't know on that front either how that's going to shake out. So, and again, we don't have bill text. So this is being crafted in some back room right now. And until such time as we actually get a draft piece of legislation that is introduced, which, by the way, they're going to do the same thing they always do in Washington, where they introduce it as close as they possibly can to the actual vote, and then they try to jam it down everybody's throats before anybody can read it. But the fact that they're trying to cook this up, a bill that would arguably, based off of what they are saying publicly, fundamentally change this country, is frankly disturbing, spooky, freaky. I mean, this is really scary what they're doing, and the American public should be scared. Nancy Pelosi's haunted house is not functioning the way the House of Representatives is supposed to function when no matter which party's in control.
Pramila Jayapal, a lot of people heard that name and they don't know who you're talking about. And you just said she's the acting president. Who is she and why does she have so much power?
She's the leader of the Congressional Progressive Caucus. So she is the chairwoman of the Congressional Progressive Caucus. They're kind of like the left-wing, leftist version of the House Freedom Caucus. So your viewers, our listeners and readers at Breitbart, we're very familiar with the Freedom Caucus because we hear from a lot of these members all the time. They're the left-wing version of that. And they just shut down. So they were trying to pass out of the House of Representatives last week this $1.2 trillion bill that passed the U.S. Senate on bipartisan lines. Yet Pramila Jayapal refused to allow the votes for it, so she had all of her members lined up, 50 or so or more. She says she had at least 50, willing to vote no on a bill that they say they support because it's part of the bigger agenda. They say the two bills are linked, the 3.5 that we were just talking about and this already passed Senate bill are linked, but they held that bill up. They held that vote up, and they wouldn't allow the votes to go for it because they're trying to force the hand of Manchin and Sinema in the Senate and get the Senate to move on the other bill before they allow the vote on this bill. So she literally stopped, and literally everybody from Joe Biden to Nancy Pelosi, Joe Biden, the president of the United States, literally went to the Democrat conference in Congress on Friday last week to try to soothe the tensions and break the impasse, and they wouldn't agree to it. So, and again, that shows you that the real power lies with Pramila Jayapal. She's the one that decides when there's going to be a vote and if they're going to allow the agenda through the U.S. House of Representatives. So she's got the real power in Congress right now.
Hey, thanks so much for watching The First on YouTube. If you liked what you saw, go ahead and like and subscribe. You heard me. Like it, subscribe. You'll get a lot more of it and a lot more of me.